today I'm going to show you how I do my black winged eyeliner. I have some tutorials coming up that I really want to do, some makeup tutorials, and they have a winged look. So I was like, well, instead of spending 10 hours explaining my eyeliner every single tutorial, I figured I could do a separate tutorial. Basically, I have quite a few eyeliners I use for this tutorial. They're all drugstore eyeliners, which is awesome because they're affordable, but this is just what works for me. I'm just like a normal person who happens to drink a lot of coffee, so eyeliner is always a struggle. If you know the struggle, you know I see you out there. I know I'm not the only one. It does get a little obnoxious because I use 3 products in this tutorial. I literally use 3 eyeliners, but one of the eyeliners is just for those of you who really want to get into that inner corner, but whenever you go approach that corner with liquid liner, it's just like all over the place. That's where this guy comes in handy, and you'll see it in the tutorial how I use it. But basically, the reason I use 3 liners is because one, this NYC felt tip liner gives me really good shape because it's very firm. It's not like other felt tip pencils or pens, where when you go in, it just kind of bends and then eyeliner gets all over the place and then it all goes downhill from there. So this really helps get my shape. And then I go in with the L'Oreal Infallible. This is the super slim felt tip liner. This one has a little bit more of a bendy felt tip thing where it just kind of like what I was talking about earlier, that if I use this by itself, it just gets out of control. So that's why I kind of put my foundation down like almost like a coloring book, and then I color it in with this guy. That's kind of how it works for me. But I'm gonna go step by step through all this and kind of show you how I correct errors, and how if you do your wing and then you decide later that you want a longer wing or a bigger wing, how to go into that without completely messing up everything. Also, if you have any questions over this tutorial, leave those in the comments box. And yeah, if you want to see how I get my black winged eyeliner, then just keep watching. To start things off, I'm going to zoom you in like a creep, and I already have mascara and stuff on. I normally don't do liner when I have mascara on, but I'd already worn makeup for the day, so we're just going to go in and add liner after the fact. So it's whichever way, whatever your heart desires. But I'm going to use this NYC felt tip pen to create the outline of a wing. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to start on the lower lash line and kind of create an angle as a continuance of my lower lash line. Since I do have a bit of a hooded lid here, I don't want to go at too much of an angle. You will see that I'm going to do a little bit of an angle, but when I go to open my eyes, that angle is going to curve up even more. So if you go at too much of an angle, it's straight up going to look like a Nike swoosh or a smiley face, or just like kind of a crazy looking wing that you don't really want. If you don't have a hooded lid, you can go at more of an angle and still have a completely normal looking wing. To continue with this outline, I'm not going to go all the way to the end of where we made that line, but a little bit further in from that, and I'm going to draw an angle all the way to the center portion of my lid. And I'm holding the outside of my eye. I'm not pulling it, just holding it so the skin doesn't get all weird. This kind of prevents the liner from doing the skid mark kind of thing, if you know what I mean, where it kind of bounces around, looks like it's like skidding. I brought the line to the center of my lid instead of all the way through the inner corner, because since I do have a little bit of a hooded lid, if I pull it all the way to the inner corner, you're not going to see any of that inner corner highlight. You're just going to see a black line all throughout my lid. That's also why I keep the line pretty low. I'm not making this a super thick line, as you can see. And here I'm just continuing to fill in the outer corner. And then I'm going to go in with the L'Oreal Infallible Super Slim felt tip liner, I believe it is. And since this is super slim, like, you know, hence the name, I use this to press on my lash line and fill in those gaps there, just because I feel like this is way easier to work with and a lot blacker than the NYC liner. And I'm just using it like kind of like a stamp and pressing it onto that lash line. I'm also going in and going over that NYC liner. So anywhere I put the NYC liner, I'm going to go ahead and go over with this liner to make a sharper, blacker line. And also, since this is more of a liquid formula, when I put this over the outline, I can stay inside the lines and not get too crazy and out of control with it. For the inner corner, since I get all crazy in there, if I even try to approach it with liquid liner, I'm going in with a waterproof pencil here. And what I do is I kind of just go into that waterline area and blink and kind of just try to connect the inner corner to that line there, to where the end of that line tapered off. And then I also go ahead and tight line here. And the reason I like a waterproof liner for this is because it won't smudge all over the place. Smudge? No, it won't smudge all over the place. It kind of just stays put. And yeah, so I hate tight lining. This is the worst part ever, and it's so gross to look at. But anyways, so then I'm just gonna go in and fill in any gaps here. You see that there was that one gap there at the end of the wing. So let's say this wing wasn't big enough for you and you want more of a dramatic wing. I'm going to show you how to go back in without completely ruining it, because sometimes we make decisions last minute. I'm totally indecisive like that, so I don't blame you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the outer portion of the wing, and I'm just going back through each step again. So I'm going in with the NYC liner first. I'm kind of making this wing a little bit bigger by starting at the bottom and creating a new line basically and pulling it up a little bit further. Again, my angle isn't going to be too far up. I'm trying to keep the angle pretty minimal by pulling the line more out than I am up. And then I'm going to do the same thing and thicken the outer portion of that wing by pulling it at an angle towards the center of the lid. But I'm not going all the way to the center this time. I'm keeping things on that outer portion of the wing. So I'm basically just dragging the line and making the outer portion thicker, but then blending it into the wing that's already existing there. I am not building on the center of the lid, because if we get it too thick on the center of the lid, especially with hooded eyes, we're not going to see anything but a black line, and it's basically just going to make your eyes kind of sink into your face. Try not to thicken that center portion of the lid. Next, I'm going to sharpen that line by going into this concealer palette by NYX or NYX, and I'm using a flat brush here. This one is by BH Cosmetics. I'm going to run this on the lower portion of that wing so we can clean up any weird ridges we had, or skid marks, like as I like to call them, and we're going to sharpen that there. As you pull that concealer up, you will see that it will kind of go into that liner and pull that wing and give a really sharp wing there. This is my favorite technique to get a sharp wing. And then you can always go back in with liner and kind of darken that up a little bit if you want. Here I'm just adding lashes. I believe these are Black Magic lashes. That's the name of the company. They're pretty bomb. And yeah, I'm just adding these here because it always intensifies the wing and makes it look perfect. Even if you have a little bit of mistakes, if you add lashes, no one will know. You will totally hide any imperfections. I always go in and add drama to my lower lash line because I just can't stop. I can't help myself. So I believe this is the shade Mocha or something from Makeup Geek. I believe it's Mocha. I could be wrong, but I think it is. Anyway, so I'm just adding this to my lower lash line and just amping up the drama, and then that eye is done. I'm going to quickly move through the steps on my other eye so you guys can see how I complete this look. Basically, I'm following the exact same steps as before, but just doing this on the other eye. So this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this eyeliner routine. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up. Say hey girl, hey down in the comments box. You know the routine. You know I love talking to you. Also, let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.